Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and once again we are back. It is Speed Force Racing SFR. Tonight, as ever, it's Monday, which means it's myself, Jimbo Mancy, and that guy Sven on comms. Evening, Sven. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. How are you?
Yeah, not so bad. Not so bad. Really looking forward to this one. Probably my most favourite track and probably one of the most historical tracks in the Formula One calendar that we visit tonight, and obviously probably one of the best set of corners on a Grand Prix circuit as well, because when you get them right they're great, but one slight error and it could be race over as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously GP4, we'll go on to the championship in just a moment, but after the Hungary Grand Prix, quite an interesting one to watch. Probably quite an interesting race for Senna, our championship leader as well, having gone from back of the grid to finish in P2. And the big surprise result, I think, from it is after the stewards' reports was done, was that James Hook got his first podium in SFR, and obviously of the season as well, with a third place. So congratulations, James Hook. May it be the first of many. And who knows, maybe you can bag a back-to-back podium tonight. Just another great drive I want to shout out for in that race as well was Romsey, who was at the front going into turn one and then was spun, got some damage, and he came back and was in P2 until he decided to change his strategy at the end of the race, and obviously then with the penalties dropped down an additional place, but still a solid P4 for him. What were your thoughts on the Hungary Grand Prix, Sven?
It was a really good one to watch, actually. A lot of action, but good action. I don't think we did see that many, like, what do you call it, bad moves and stupid moves. I think it was really good. Everyone was calculated, not taking too much risks.
Yeah.
And it's an improvement, in my opinion.
Good. Okay, well, we'll go on to the championship standings. Not much has changed at the top. However, Senna has gained more an advantage, taking the lead further away after finishing ahead again of Brumi and Luke. The only person obviously to finish ahead of Senna last week was Topics, who came in and got his first win of the season, I believe. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so if we look over the standings, we've got Senna in first place. He's on 197 points. We've then got Brumi in second on 136. We've got Luke in third still on 118. And then we've got the Red Bulls of X Gamer and Romsey breathing heavily down his neck, both on 115 and 113 points. We've then got Senna's teammate Mad G in sixth. He's on 89 points. He'll be looking to get some points on the board today and hopefully break over that 100-point mark. I know that's a personal target of his for the season, so he's got plenty of time to do it. But obviously when you're that close, you want to be doing it tonight. Just after Mad G, we've got Topics, who obviously has missed quite a few races this season, but still finds himself in seventh after some solid results. DCG, his teammate, is in 8th, so a good showing for the Alfa Romeos. We've then got Shadow in 9th, Pro Oliver in 10th, Psychomich in 11th, with Xander 12th, James Hook 13th. We've then got Sonic in 14th, Podge 15th, Pelderagus in 16th, ISRL Tommy in 17th, Energy Dan, who also picked up his first points of the season after the steward reports for Hungary, so congratulations to him. He's moved up a place above Giselodian, who now drops down to 19th, and we have Need for Speed in 20th, who will be looking to score a point to start his season off today. What do you think of the standings? Obviously Senna's pulled the lead out now. He is 61 points clear. Are we talking about one hand on the trophy?
I mean, anything can always happen. I think if you look back to GP3 last year when I was driving, I think I had a lead about maybe 90 points by this time. And still I won the championship by 1 point before Stamp, so anything can happen. But I think Senna is looking stellar right now. The drive last week from dead last to second, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something else. But there are some guys improving, like Romsey and Topics. When he is here, he's always showing up.
Yeah,
you have X Gamer having good things, and even Mad G. So anything can happen. But maybe 3 fingers on the trophy right now.
3 fingers, yeah. I think the benefit Senna has is that the two that are closer to him in the championship, being Brumi and Luke, just are struggling to get the solid results. When you start a race with your championship rival at the back of the grid with a quali ban, you'd expect to try and take as much from it as you can. Brumi and Luke didn't have the greatest of qualifying last week, and I think by the end of the first lap, Senna had already got in front of him. But yeah, fantastic drive around a circuit that doesn't sort of promote overtaking really. A very difficult track when you're trying to get through the pack as well. So a great drive by him. Obviously as well, another person who had a good drive was Mad G, who had wing damage. And we all know that a bit of wing damage around Hungary isn't a nice place to be either, but managed to keep it together and control his driving with the damage as well. So a great effort by him as well. So you want to just rock on to the constructors?
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic.
In first place we have the Renault team. They're looking really good right now. Missed points in Germany, but in Hungary they struck back with 26 points. Then in second place we have the Red Bulls, who actually got the second place in Germany, I think, by scoring 40 points, and then 22 in Hungary. So McLaren in third with Brumi and Sajkovic, and the McLaren team are struggling a little bit lately. They have 24 points in 5 races, so that's less than the Renault team got last race. And then Alfa Romeo climbing up with DCG and Topics, doing really good solid points last week by 25. And in fifth place we have Haas with Luke and Giselodian. In sixth place we have Shadow Britain and James Hook, and like we said, James Hook got his first podium, so that's awesome. Seventh place is Racing Point with Pro Oliver and ISRL Tommy. Eighth place is Ferrari with Racing Porsche and Energidan. They have been looking quite good lately, but some mistakes might have cost them some really solid points, but they're looking better and better. And then we have Mercedes, who's also looking really good right now with Pelderargus and Need for Speed. They just have to make the race count, if you know what I mean. Not doing these small mistakes, which easily can happen. And that's the same for Toro Rosso, who's lost in 10th place with Sonic Hawk and Sander. They're also looking really good. I think Sander was leading the race in... he also got pole position, didn't he, in Hungary?
Yeah, he did.
I think so. But they need to just make it stick throughout the race. It's easier to make a little mistake in 36 laps in Hungary. But here it's only 22, so maybe that's better.
Yeah, you're right what you're saying there. You know, you look at the Toro Rosso team, they've got Sonic Hawk and Zander as their drivers, and they're two quick drivers. And obviously you can see on your screen now that it is a dry qualifying. However, news in is that it is a full wet race.
Ooh.
So that is going to be interesting because...
So what do we see for pole laps then when they're doing wet setup? I can reckon maybe a high 44.
Yeah, I would say around a high 44 will show that someone has gone for a wet setup. There maybe that's someone that gambles and uses their dry setup to take the pole position and see how they get on in the race. But around here, highly not recommended, especially with Eau Rouge. Because that corner's hard enough with 11-11 wings.
That's Radillion, actually.
Radillion, yeah.
I just had to say that.
Hard. I'm not the first person to have got that wrong, and I won't be the last either. But as we go out onto the track, we do not have Shadow out first. Interesting.
Yeah, I forgot to put up my little good lap here in the telemetry to see the ERS of people. So it looks like it's a Rebel.
Yeah, X-Gamer. So X-Gamer and Senna are obviously Belgian drivers. So this technically their home Grand Prix. They'll be looking for a fantastic result. However, I'm sure they both would have been looking for it to be dry. Just because the track itself, I think for me, it's a bit like Silverstone. It's one of them ones that I don't mind if it rains, but it's a track that I love to drive, and to drive it fast and to its full potential, you want to be doing that in the dry.
Yeah, I mean, some parts of this track is quite like the Silverstone. You have these fast swooping corners, you have long straights, you have a lot of things that maybe like the SS and things in sector beginning in sector 2, and then you have the last thing of sector 2, the SS. It's
Yes.
quite like and then the slow chicane in the end of the track. It's a lot like Silverstone. The only difference is the up and the downhills.
Yeah, well, England is renowned for being very flat, so...
yeah, then you haven't been to Denmark.
we're not renowned for... as X Gamer invalidates his lap.
Then we have Need for Speed as the first one to maybe set a lap. He also
he's invalidated as well.
And then the Haas.
What we'll do is
Giselodian. He's also invalidated.
We'll jump to Senna, who is running a special number and helmet for his home race. You'll notice he hasn't changed his number. He's still got the 42. Well, he sent me a message saying that he was running a 19 and a new helmet. He's changed his helmet, but not his race number. So ignore 75% of what I just said. The helmet is different. But he is also from Belgium, so another driver with his home Grand Prix.
Yeah. Well, should be fun to have a home Grand Prix. I wish I had one. Racing Porch is going wide, and now he's spinning a lot.
So we could just watch Senna start his lap, and his teammate Mad G just behind him. So
yeah, I'm gonna stick with Shadow and Racing Porch as they're the first guys. So
interesting if it's a full wet race. Oh no. Oh yeah. So just looking at it, the rain for the race is light to heavy to light. So I can only think that the people going out on mediums and hards are just getting a feel for the circuit at the moment.
Yeah, I think so.
A bit of speed, a bit like we spoke about last week when you go out on a set of mediums and they're not the greatest, and then all of a sudden you put the softs on and you feel like you can take everything almost flat out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with Maggi too, he always seems to go with the harder compound as first lap. So I think it's one of his getting to a feel of the track thingy.
Yeah. So we watched Senna. We haven't had anyone actually set a timed lap.
Shadowbridge
as he does on the mediums as well. So not a bad lap. Podge just behind with a 51 there, so he would have made a mistake.
People past Topics.
Yeah. Straight in there with a 45-1 as well. But we'll stick on board with Senna. He now comes through the final sector. Obviously, for those of you who have followed Formula 1 for years will know the changes that Spa has had in the third sector. Some very big changes. The old bus stop chicane, I really enjoyed. This one, not so much. Really difficult to get your braking right for it. And then the turning as well, the left-hander onto the start-finish straight to get the car straightened up and get the power down. But as we see, Senna goes across the line and takes provisional pole with a 44.2 on the soft tyres. So 9 tenths up on Topics, which is kind of what you'd expect the delta to be from the mediums to the softs around here.
I think so. It's a really good lap.
We've got
Senna, really solid. I think it was maybe fastest in all 3 sectors.
Energy Dan is out on a lap at the moment, so... He comes into the very difficult chicane towards the end of Sector 2, because if you clip that curb on the inside whilst applying the power, it's another one of them almost auto-spin curves.
Yeah, but if you take it quite hard and then you really soften the throttle, that feels really good instead, so it's a tricky one.
So as we watch Energy Dan come to the end of his lap, brakes hard from 8th down to 2nd gear into the chicane.
Yeah, braking from the 100 mark maybe.
Really nice place. Really nice clean run as well out of the corner, so comes across the line with a 45.7, so I'll be looking to improve on that, but a good lap to get in.
It's an opener lap just to get the delta, something to follow. Some people don't like the delta and have disconnected it, but I really enjoy it. So when you in the first lap, just take a lap to get a solid numbers in, and then you have something to follow, and if you improve it, you're feeling really good about the lap, and just It helps me to focus at least. So
Yeah, I find if it's great as well if you've made a small mistake somewhere and you know you have, and you're already up before you get to that section where you made the small mistake. You know that if you nail it, the delta's just going to continue to jump.
yeah.
And yeah, what you're saying there as well is correct. The feeling when you're way up on your delta is brilliant.
But then I also get this like
Romsey goes P2.
challenging instinct when I'm a little bit down on my delta.
Oh, as we flick towards Harry, who loses it
No.
and hasn't lost a wheel
He
somehow.
can continue. That's good.
Keeps out of the way.
That's good.
Obviously, one thing we haven't mentioned around here as well is the length of the lap time. Obviously, the qualifying time isn't extended in any way whatsoever.
No, you can probably get, if you get out quite quickly from the pits and then you do a lap without invalidating and trying one more, then you should be able to do 3 laps at least. But as long as you mess up and have to go into the pits again and start the whole process over, then you maybe just have the time for 2.
Yeah, it's quite a long-winded affair coming into the pits here. And another thing, again, that we haven't mentioned is Harry and one of the Alfa Romeos give us a Coulthard Schumacher-esque image there.
Yeah.
One of the things we haven't mentioned is the pit entry and pit exit here is also quite difficult if you're not concentrating and focusing, and it is going to be even more difficult for the guys in the wet as well.
Yeah, I think we have... I think the deadly part in this track is the pit entry, pit exit, and then you have Rodillion, can be really crucial. Even the first corner, at least in the first lap, or first couple of laps when the cars are tied together, the first corner can be really brutal.
As we see Broomy go through Rodillion there and onto the straight, and this is where he can open it up, relax a little bit, regain his focus.
It's a 29, 30, 32 first sector. That's maybe it's running a little bit more wings. Should at least aim to be under 30, I think.
So the set of left-handers that he's coming up to now, another one as well. You need to kind of stay away from the curb on the inside, stay away from the curb on the outside.
Yeah,
does that
fast
really nicely.
sweeping corner, you have to, if you touch the inner curb too much, you just get, then you will just do a Giovinazzi.
Yeah, so as he comes to the end of sector 2, let's see where he is on the delta. 116.8, doesn't light anything up, so it looks like he's possibly lost a bit of time there.
I think it's quite a solid lap. It's his first lap, so he doesn't get the delta, but 116 in the second sector is quite okay. I think it's not Senna's pace, but maybe competing with the X-Gamer and Romsey right now.
Gets the brake in nice for the chicane at the end of the circuit.
Oh, yeah, and the exit of that corner can be really slippery if you too hard on the throttle.
So 145.7 as we go on board with Maggi, who's in the 29.8 in the first sector. So someone who is favoured to run in lower wings. I know we all know he was running low wings at Hungary, hitting plus 200 down the start-finish straight. So sector 1 really favourable to Maggi. Oh, Senna retires. We've lost Senna.
Yeah, he lost it in Rodillion.
Okay, so at the moment he's still on pole. Oh, as Maggi goes out, well wide and wow! And that's both of the Renaults out of the session within seconds.
He didn't hit the Ferrari, right?
No, he hit the Ferrari. And
he did.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what kind of a line racing Podge was on. He's still going.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's having damage. Ooh, that could be something for the stewards. Yeah, he lost an end plate. Maybe he got...
I think he got hit into the wall with the speed that Maggi... I mean, Maggi came around the left far too wide and it had been validated. Whether he was then losing the car and spinning, but if Podge was on a slower lap, he should have been off the track and well out of the way around there, because there's so many different lines for that corner.
Yeah, definitely. You have to really look at your GPS to see if someone is coming in the quali lap.
Yeah, a huge impact. So unfortunately, Mad G hadn't set a time, so he will be starting dead last.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be a challenge for him going through sort of the first lap behind the entire field.
There's a good and a bad with that, because this track is a really good track to overtake, but I feel like it's really hard to catch other cars. If you know what I mean. Like if you're 2 seconds behind a car, it could be really tricky to catch the DRS of that car. But when you're in the DRS, it's really hard to not overtake. So you just have to grab those tenths and do all you can with it. So it can be quite tricky to overtake some people here.
Okay, we've still got Luke, Harry and Gisalodian who haven't set times yet. I know Luke dropped out of the session. He is back in now, but we're on board with Energy Dan, who is coming to the end of the second sector.
Ooh, Roms is 1/10 down in the first sector.
Almost 2 tenths up on his time. He's in the 116s, be at a 116.9 in the second sector. As we watch Energy Dan come, another corner there that he's just gone round the curb on the inside of the left-hander. Another one you do not touch. Gets the brake and nice for the bus stop chicane. Really nice line on the curb on the inside, and powers out of there nicely and comes across the line with a 1:45.3. So that puts him up to 6th place.
Yeah, that's a really good lap. The sector 3 is looking really good for Energy Dan, especially the last chicane there. He gets the grip down. It's a tricky corner if you have too much speed, or if you go to the first gear, you can really spin around. Looks really solid.
So we've got Need for Speed coming into the final couple of corners now. He's on a lap. Again, nicely breaks down. Looks quick through there.
Yeah,
as
well. Gets a little bit spin.
And he comes across the line with a 46.7.
Yeah.
So it's just the Husses to set a lap, but they are both on an out lap.
Yeah, I think we have Romsey improved to 2nd place as well. He improved 4 tenths.
Yeah, he's up to P2, but I think that will be the end of his qualifying.
Yeah, he will be mad at that not beating Senna when he got crashed out.
So the one person who will be looking to beat Senna's time will be X Gamer. Obviously a bit of competition between the two always, with them both being Belgian and obviously towards the front of the field in most of the races. But obviously here at the home track, taking pole at your home track is the one they want.
And he's staying out of the way from Brumi, I think. No, it was Brumi. He's also on an out lap.
Yep,
Who
so
do we have? We have Proliver on the lap.
Yeah, we've got 9 people on an out lap at the moment.
Yeah,
Proliver's on a lap.
Proliver and the 2 Hasses on a lap.
We've got a yellow in sector 1 as one of the Williams is slowed right down. Yeah. So the track looking quite busy at the moment.
Oh, it looks nice and tidy here from Proliver.
As he comes across the line.
Yeah, that's a really good corner right there.
So he's going to give us a 1:44.8. So great, jumps up to 5th place with that.
Really good lap.
So sector 2 getting very busy.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars there. It's also in the end of sector 3 right now for Gisalodian to finish his lap. Hopefully
yeah, we've got Psychomich who's just starting a lap as well.
Oh, we invalidated. If he doesn't go for the lap right now, he won't even make a time.
So Psychomich comes into the first sector with a 30.2. Need for Speed retires from the session. Not enough time for him to get out and put another lap in.
Let's see Luke here, 45.4.
Okay, so Luke moves himself up into P10.
It's maybe a little bit of disappointing from Luke. He's been looking really good, but he had some struggle lately. But I think he should be higher up. But then we also have Racing Port, Sander, Energy Dan, and Pelderagis. 4 people really improving lately. So
Yeah, Pelderagis up to 6th as well. So great stuff for him as he now starts a flying lap as well. And we'll stick on board with Sykomich for the end of his lap. Oh, and he invalidates, going out far too wide through the fast left-hander.
Oh, whoa. Take a look at X Gamer. He's 6.5 tenths up in the second sector.
Okay,
this is a pole lap if he can stick this.
Nice through there. Doesn't touch the curb on the inside. Comes down to the chicane. The brakes glow. Looks good. Looks tidy.
That's a really good looking brake right there.
And he takes pole with a 144.1. What a lap. And Podge moves himself up into 4th with a 144.5.
Yeah, and Topics has invalidated.
And Topics, yeah, so he'll be staying, well, he won't be moving up any further, and the guys above him won't be getting overtaken by him.
The only ones who can improve right now is Pelderagis and the 2
And
Williams.
Pelderagis is missing his front wing, so he's not going to be improving. As we jump on board with Shadow, he comes across the line. And he moves up to 8th with a 145.0.
Yeah, I was just going to say James Hook improved to 11th, but he got knocked down to 12th by his teammate.
Okay, so for the Belgian Grand Prix, as someone has mentioned in the chat, we have a Belgian front row.
Oh yeah, we do.
As well, so
how many hours do they put in, you reckon?
No idea, but a great qualifying from X Gamer. He'll be really happy with that, and I'm sure even Senna retiring, where he did, he could have been knocked a lot further down. As we've got, I'm not sure what's happened between DCG and Broomy, but both cars are in bits on the side of the road. And is there a Haas? There is a Haas there as well.
Yeah, there's 3 cars right there.
Okay, so
he has this Vettel looking car, like was it Malaysia 2017 when his rear tire was on the back of the car?
Yeah, interesting look there. Not sure what's gone on there. It's just Elodian in the Haas who's caught up, and it's Broomy and DCG.
Oh, more carnage. In the end of Sector 3 we have Tommy and the 2 Williams just smacking it.
Okay, well that's qualifying over. Fortunately, the cars don't have to be repaired by technicians before they go out to race, because we'll be missing about 35% of the field going into this one. But yeah, that's qualifying. So Sven, as ever, if you want to run through.
Yeah, in first place we have the Belgium X-Gamer, and then we have in second place the Belgium of Senna Martins. In third place Romsey, the Finnish Bottas. Fourth place Racing Porsche, the Swedish Super Swede. Topics in fifth, Proliver in sixth, Luke in seventh, Shadow Britain in eighth, Pelderagis in ninth, Energy Dam finishing off top 10. Then we have Sander in 11th, James Hook in 12th, Broomy in 13th, DCG in 14th, ISRL Tommy in 15th, Sonic Hawks 16th, then we have Sykomich in 18th, and I know Magi was lost. Let's see if you did catch it on the stream here. No, you didn't. So we will see in the race who is in 18th and 19th.
Okay, so as you can see, it's wet.
Yeah.
This is going to make for a real interesting race, and the spray and the visibility for those behind going into Eau Rouge Rodillion is, well, I can only think if you weren't using the track guide, I would probably want to, just to have an idea of where my car needs to be, because that's about the only thing that you would see.
I think I just wish for a clean turn one and a first sector. Then I think
it would be lovely to see all the cars get through, but I think we are going to see at least a couple of appearances of a safety car as everyone is in, so the formation lap will start.
Hopefully not for an end plate.
Hopefully not. I think if someone crashes through Eau Rouge Rodillion, then the chances of them coming away with just an end plate missing are slim to none.
Here we have it also. They in 18th and 19th was Need for Speed and Gisselodian.
Yeah, and then obviously we've got Mad G at the back after the incident with Podge in Sector 2 in qualifying. And obviously Podge had a 5 grid penalty for that there, so that's pushed him back to 9th, and everyone within 5 places below him has moved up a place, so that's put Shadow into 7th, Pelderagus into 8th. We've then got Luke in 6th, Pro Oliver 5th, and Topics in 4th.
Yeah, this is a really good top 4 right here. We could have a really exciting battle because all those 4 drivers have been really consistent and showing some speed all the time. I mean, Pro Oliver, he can challenge, but he's been quite good sometimes, and some other races he hasn't really shown his true pace, I think. So it all comes
still
down to how he handles the rain, I think.
Yeah, I go back to China where he had a great race and came P3. So he's got the speed.
Yeah.
Obviously here the conditions could be for him or against him, not knowing what his wet weather pace is like. With the rain, who would you say is your favourite for the win?
I don't think we had enough wet races really to judge how quick each driver are, but I know Senna looks quite good in the rain, but he could also struggle in some practices I've been doing with him in the rain. But it's a hard one. I think Romsey will look quite good, and also X-Gamer. The Red Bull in general will probably look quite good here, I think.
So quite a spread out formation there. We've got the guys coming round the final corner now and starting to line up on the grid as Mad G comes into the last sector. It's going to be a tough race for Mad G. Can he replicate what his teammate did last week and come through the field? I will say if he is running low wings, which it looked like he was with his speed through sector 1, he may be one to struggle with the first sector in the wet. And obviously, as we've been told, the rain is due to get heavier before it then gets lighter again.
Yeah, but I think also if you're doing the light wings, if you're a quite quick driver in the back of the field, you also can quite take it easy in the corners and just go ham in the straight. So all comes down to how he handles the car, I think.
So the red lights are out, and we have an interesting view from
behind
X-Gamer.
Yeah, I have
Looks like he gets a good start. Topics is absolutely launched off the line as they come down to turn 1.
Please take it easy. Oh, they're taking it really easy. We have some bumpiness in the back, an end plate right there. Magi gaining places.
Everyone around, so...
Yeah, they took it really easy. I like that.
Senna around the outside of X-Gamer as there is some sideways action. It looks like...
Oh, we have
another end plate missing.
It's Need for Speed. He caught the car, but he got a little bit of spin in Rodillion.
Yeah, so we go back to the front. Chaotic start, but Senna gets away, and he's already 1.2 seconds clear. Great start to the race there, though. No one spinning, losing it, no crazy lunges. Yeah. A real calm, steady start, and a great showing from the GP4 guys to hopefully what the week proceeds with. So your tip-off of Senna being good in the rain is looking like it's got solid foundation because he's already 1.4 seconds clear.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience by driving with him in the rain, I haven't done it too much, but sometimes I have, and he's been really quick. But he makes mistakes, so anything can happen. I think as long as he sticks the car on the track, he might have this in his.
So we've got Psychomich who's missing an end plate. However, in the wet around here, maybe not the most difficult track. Our losers at the start, obviously James Hook, who's in close contention with Mad G at the moment. He's gone back 4 places off the grid. Mad G has made up 3. Senna sets the fastest lap, being the first lap of the race. And it looks like James Hook has wing damage as
Mad G
well.
is heading for the pits.
Yep, so the guys who had a bit of wing damage, I did think he had lost an end plate, so Senna comes through. Redillion then takes it very easy, a little bit squirrely and wide. Topics has got X Gamer.
Yeah.
He's made the move there as Romsey was a bit all over the place through there and has now got Pro Oliver coming up fast.
Yeah. Do you remember? This would be really good because when we interviewed Topics last week, he said it was a good...
Pro Oliver goes for a move around the outside. And we've lost one of the Hassers.
Pro Oliver makes it stick.
So a great move from Pro Oliver. So we've had a Hass spin. That'll be Gisolodian. Yeah, he's got damage to his front wing, so he'll be coming in at the end of this lap.
I'm also looking forward to the top 2 right now, because last week when we interviewed the Topics after his win in Hungary, he said it was a good win, but he didn't really enjoy it because he didn't get to battle Senna, who's in the lead of the championship. So now he gets to do it, so maybe he wants to really get a pace on right now.
Okay, so obviously all the guys on intermediates at the moment. We've had Psychomich, Tommy and Mad G go into the pits to get wing replacements.
Shadow is looking really good right now.
Yeah, he's up into 6th. Topics looks to be closing as Luke picks up a 10-second time penalty. Topics is really closing down as we've got cars coming wide. So Topics takes the fastest lap of the race. And X Gamer seems to be holding people up. He seems to be struggling as Gisolodian is out of the race. That's coming out of Sector 2 into Sector 3. That horrible right-hander that if you don't get it right, you go into the tyre wall on the outside.
Yeah, the tyre wall there is really tricky. Look at the lead the top 2 has right now.
Yeah, 4.4 seconds from X Gamer to Topics. Hopefully no one picks up any penalties under the VSC. Very difficult, the VSC here, because I've seen that the time in the corners just disappears.
Yeah, if you go on the straight and you're doing lean and on, you feel like, yeah, I can do really fast right here and going full throttle, and as soon as you approach the corner, the time just sprints away from you.
Looks like the VSC is about to end as the guys are sort of jumping on the brakes. And yes, Energy Dan picks up a drive-through penalty. So Energy Dan, who was in sort of P10, P11 battling with DCG at the moment, will have to serve his drive-through penalty within the next 3 laps.
Broom is making a move on the inside.
Oh, we've lost Tommy. He's gone round. So that puts Mad G up a position into 18th. Back at the front, Topics 0.8 behind Senna.
Oh, Energy Dan just had a moment there with Broomy, and Broomy got into the grass.
Okay, so Broomy's gone off. Energy Dan still going. We've got James Hook, who's still going around with wing damage, so that's not going to be much fun. Back to the front, Topics is right on Senna now. 0.3 of a second, almost side by side, going into the chicane, and it looks like Topics has got the better run. He's going for the inside. And it looks like he's got the move done. Oh, there's contact. Senna manages
a little bit later.
Oh, they're coming together there. We'll stay on board with Senna as they go through Eau Rouge and Redillion, and this is where you've got to take it really easy when there's a car in front of you. They seem both get through
Senna
cleanly.
is taking it really easy right there.
So Topics takes the lead and looking to carry on that speed as Pro Oliver now on the outside of X Gamer. The next gamer, if he's not careful, is going to lose a position to his teammate as well. He has. Romsey's got past as well.
Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's close, but he has. He's got the move done. So that's Romsey up into P4. Now, can Pro Oliver and Romsey pull back on Senna? I don't think anyone's going to catch Topics because he's already pulled 0.6 over Senna.
He's looking really good right now.
Yeah, however, next in line to take X Gamer again is Shadow. And just behind him is Podge.
Yeah, X-Gamer's lost 4 positions in 4 laps.
Yeah, he's having a tough race. He did say it's not one of his favoured tracks, even though it is his home Grand Prix. A difficult track for him, and I think with the wet weather as well, even more difficult. As it looks like Topics is getting away. The gap is now 0.7. Oh, Senna gets that oversteering through there and loses a couple more temps. And the gap now over a second. Not that we need to worry about DRS, as obviously that will be off in the current conditions. X-Gamer with Shadow all over the back of him. As they come into the chicane, Shadow too far away to make the move, but X-Gamer looks like he's struggling to slow the car down through there as Topics goes even faster.
Yeah, he's just losing time on his teammate right now. 2.2 seconds behind in 1 lap.
So we jump back to Topics at the front. The gap 1 second. Pro Oliver now has Romsey all over the back of him. Romsey gets the run but gets it a bit sideways. Oh, and we've lost Pelderargus.
Yeah,
and we have another virtual safety car. And Romsey just got the move done on Pro Oliver.
Almost in the beginning of the Camel Straight right there, he lost the car.
And his car gets removed just as Psychomich comes up to it. And obviously we've got Energy Dan, who's yet to take his drive-through, still in P10 at the moment. As Giselodian leaves the session.
Yeah, he was crashed out from the first virtual safety car.
So your favourite guy, Pelderargus, Mr. Schumacher, out of the race.
Yeah.
Must be something about wet weather and Schumacher around here.
Yeah, there's something about it, but what I could remember, Schumacher was a really good wet driver, but he couldn't seem to make it work in Belgium for some reason. In the wet, at least.
So we're back underway, up to full speed. Topics, the gap, 0.9. And it looks like it's going to be a battle of these two at the front, with Romsey now in P3, and he's pulled the gap on Pro Oliver to over a second as well. However, if we look further back, oh, Pro Oliver goes into the pits.
Okay.
Has he got damage? Can't see because we're now on board.
No, I don't think he has. He's maybe going for the wets. I don't know. Seems a little bit early, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going on the full wets.
Okay, so he's going into the wets, and we have Energy Dan in taking his drive through as well. Romsey looking really good through Rodillion onto the Camel Straight there. And he's got the gap down to Senna to 4.2 seconds.
Yeah, he's looking good. Let's see how Pro Oliver is doing in these tires.
Has he had the message from Jeff to tell him that they don't know what's better anymore?
Yeah, maybe.
So Energy Dan, after his drive-through, has dropped down to 15th. Mad G still back in 17th and doesn't seem to be making leaps and bounds in overtakes. And I do think with that lower wing in these weather conditions, he is going to be struggling a lot more, especially through Sector 2.
Yeah, I think so.
Back at the front, Topics has the gap up to 1.5 seconds, and the gap from Senna to Romsey remains at around 4.2. X-Gamer now has a 1.1 second gap over Shadow, so hopefully he's finding some sort of rhythm around here now, because the early laps he really has looked like he was struggling. The guy was on pole, he's now 7 seconds off. We've got a yellow in sector 2.
It's nothing really.
Not that I can see, no.
No, I think someone might just have had a bit of spin moment, but seems quite fine right now.
And Topics
with the
sets
fastest lap.
So the intermediate's obviously still working. Oh, Shadow picks up a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. And Romsey takes the fastest lap with a 2-minute flat. So we've got Shadow and
Podge is going for the move.
Jump on board with Podge. It comes down to the most difficult set of corners on the circuit, especially to follow someone. Oh, and he runs into the back of Shadow, and that's Podge out. And that is going to be a safety car. No, a virtual safety car.
Oh, let's see who. No one crashes into him. That's good.
Oh, and he wasn't expecting Shadow to jump on the brakes.
No.
And that is the problem with that corner. You need to take it easier. Psychomich picks up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC as well. Oh, poor Podge.
Yeah, what is this, the third virtual we had?
Yeah, and we've got Lewis in the chat saying how is that not a safety car? He's got a point there, because Podge's car was on the middle of the circuit. But the VSC has ended. We're back under green. And the lead from Topics to Senna is 1.5 seconds, with Romsey now down to 3.7. So he's taken another 4 tenths from Senna. X-Gamer continues that gap over Shadow. That's now up to 1.2. However, obviously we've lost Podge, which is moving people up the field. We've had James Hook pit to put a new front wing on. And as much as there is only 22 laps in this race, we have only done 7. I feel like the race has been going on for quite some time already.
Yeah, each lap is above 2 minutes, so...
Yeah, so Energy Dan has managed to get past Pro Oliver. Oh, as he runs wide. And that's going to give Pro Oliver the run now, but them wets working. It looks like heavy rain, but that racing line still has not so much water on it.
Yeah, I don't feel like the wets are... I think you're quite in between right now, because it doesn't look so slow, but it doesn't look as fast as the intermediates either. But people are going into the pits right now. Need for Speed and Energy Dan.
And Energy Dan going into the pits, so it looks like maybe we are hitting the crossover.
Yeah, and Psychomich is putting in his drive-through, I think.
Yep, Need for Speed has gone onto the wet tyres.
Yeah, Energy Dan
comes out with fresh intermediates.
Going on inters.
Interesting. Quite an early pit stop.
Yeah, and
we've got a yellow in sector 1. No, we've lost Pro Oliver. So the wets really were not working. As we jump on board with his teammate and see Pro Oliver out to the right there. And we have a safety car. This time we have a safety car for the car that is completely off the track and in the wall, as opposed to the one that was parked in the middle. So Codemaster's logic prevails.
Prepare for a pit mayhem right now. I think a lot of people go into the pits to make a change to fresher tyres.
So a rundown of the order before the pit mayhem. We have Topics in the lead with Senna second, Romsey third. So that's your podium at the moment. X-Gamer 7.7 seconds back of his teammate. He's struggling for pace here in the wet. He's got Shadow behind him in 5th, with Luke in 6th, DCG 7th, Sander 8th, Sonic 9th. Broomy taking the last point at the moment in 10th. However, Mad G all of a sudden has jumped up to 11th.
Yeah.
And yeah, Lewis in the chat as well saying people with 5-second penalties could be saved here. As Topics
definitely
doesn't come into the pits. Tries to
okay.
fool Senna into thinking
Senna
that he was
doesn't
going
either.
in then.
Romsey does.
Romsey does come in.
X-Gamer follows. No, he doesn't.
Nope, X-Gamer stays out.
Shadow in.
Shadow is in and he has a 5-second penalty, so he'll take that now. Romsey goes on to the wets. And are we about to see everyone who's coming in? Senna Martins picks up a 5-second penalty for a severe collision. Oh, and he's lost an end plate as well.
Ah, that's not good. That's really not good.
So, Romsey on the wets, Luke on the wets, Shadow on the wets. Romsey only dropping to P5 as well, so great for him because the guys in front, I don't know if they're going to be able to carry them intermediates on. We could be looking at a new leader of the race once the safety car is in and the guys in front have pitted.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake for Topics to not pit.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to.
Yeah, I think even if he doesn't want to change to wets, he should have still maybe take a pit stop because I don't think the Inters can last the whole race.
However, Sonic, who's probably had the most eventful race, is now up into P4.
Yeah.
After being at the back at the start, he's worked his way up. Mad G now into the points with the 10th position. Oh, his need for speed, even behind the safety car, is just trying to throw it into the wall. Okay, so as a majority of the field now start to bunch up behind the safety car, this is in the wet here, especially with the speed of the safety car. The guys are going to be very careful to not run into the car in front of them, like Senna clearly has already with Topics. So at the moment we've got the Red Bulls taking 3rd and 5th, so strong points for them. Senna currently in 2nd, however, he obviously has an end plate missing and a penalty. Now is he going to go in, take the 5-second penalty and get a new front wing put on? As we watch him,
yeah,
he does. He's into the pits. Takes it nice and easy as you will have your wheel off on that wall on the inside.
You could also get stuck in there if you touch the rear left in the entry of the pit. You spin around and get stuck into the pit lane.
Okay, so Senna takes his 5-second penalty and he'll be having a new front wing put in as Sonic comes into the pits as well. Up at the front, Topics behind the safety car with the 2 Red Bulls now in 2nd and 3rd. And honestly, with the heavy rain, Romsey, he looked like he had pace on the intermediates. If the weather is right for full wets now, we could be looking at the man that's going to take the lead and potentially win the race.
Yeah, definitely. He made his pit stop and the Inters. I mean, if you're really good with the tires, you probably can make them last all race long, but
I think the wets would go too now, but yeah, I don't see the intermediates holding out to the end. Oh, Zander picks up a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. And Mad G now up into P8. So he's made up 12 positions from the start. Obviously we have lost 4 drivers from the race. As we look further down the field, Energy Dan in 11th with his good friend James Hook just in front, taking the point in 10th. And it looks like... Oh, as Mad G picks up a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits as well.
I mean, it's such a silly mistake because you can probably get it removed, but if you go into the pits, you're screwed. That's 5 seconds you will never get back.
Yeah, I do think it's one of them ones that's just a lapse of concentration.
You also have a lot of concentration in the car in front of you and in back behind you. It's called.
Yeah,
And
you're all right.
maybe you lose some. Maybe you lose some concentration in the driving. Like.
You mean like you just did when you tried to say behind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, exactly like that.
So it looks
I'm
like
trying to make an example at the same time I'm talking. It's too much for my brain.
So Podge leaves the session, an unfortunate incident for him, but one
Yeah.
of them racing incidents where...
Oh, the safety car's going in quite a lot.
Yeah,
lately.
I was about to say, normally it's at the end of Sector 2, beginning of Sector 3, so Topic's not really much time to back the field up. Oh, gets it big sideways coming out of the last corner, and that gives X Gamer the run on him.
Hopefully a good first corner by the guys here.
Yep, looks like they're all good around there. Romsey will be looking to get past his teammate quickly. Looks like he gets better traction coming out of there. Oh, and the guys have to take it really easy through there as Romsey gets it out wide, manages to keep going. And he's now looking... Are the Red Bulls doing a change of position? If they are, they're about to... Oh, that is tight. That is tight. And they managed to pull off the change of position without letting Luke get through in the Haas. And Romsey straight up to the back of Topics. The gap literally just went from 0.6 to 0.3 in a corner. And it's now nothing.
Yeah, look at those tyres.
And it looks like Romsey has read this perfectly.
Looks like
we've got Luke going for the move on the inside, and he's touched the curb. He's gone out wide.
Oh.
And we've got Need for Speed round in the back, but at the moment, oh, that is close, really close.
They're still side by side.
Oh, Luke again up on the curb. That's not the place to try and get any grip, but neither is that for X Gamer as Luke now gets the move done around the outside. Brilliant driving from the pair there. Really good driving.
Definitely.
Great stuff. That sets Luke off on the wets as well, so he'll be looking to try and pull up the time lost to get back on Romsey's tail, who is all over the back of Topics.
Yeah, it looks like the wet runners right now are getting a little bit better lines through the corners.
Oh, Romsey outbrakes himself into the chicane. And Topics goes in.
Oh.
Oh, Energy Dan picks up a 3-second penalty as well. So we have a safety car. And Energy Dan is out.
Oh.
Oh, and everyone's smashing into each other. People wow. Tommy literally just decided after the pit lane to enter the pits, which caused Psychomich to turn into him.
That was a quite silly move in my opinion.
Yeah, he went right over the green stuff there. So Topics comes out. I'm not sure what happened to Energy Dan, but that's both Ferraris out of the race. The curse of your brother strikes again.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Yeah, the Ferrari.
So
I think the Ferrari's performing good in GP3 and Prem right now. Not GP2 and GP4, but it looks promising at least. So. Now we have Roms in the lead.
Yeah, Frederick's in the chat, your Ferrari driver from GP3. And he's just saying that it'd be interesting to see if the wets do pay off.
Yeah.
The big loser here, potentially, Topics, but he say
went
that,
on the inters again.
Yeah, but they did say that the rain was going to get heavy and then light again before the end of the race. And obviously, for those on the wets, they're going to have to pit if that is the case.
Yeah, this is probably also the last safety car of the race. This is the 5th one.
Yeah, 3 VSCs and 2 full safety cars.
I think it could be the last one. So now we have 10. Have we only gotten 12 laps?
Yeah.
Feels like I've been sitting here for 2 hours.
The wet conditions, we're running 2-minute lap times. That's without VSCs and safety cars. the safety car, I think, puts your lap up to almost not far off 3 minutes.
Yeah, this might be an hour-long race then.
I know that the classic car series does have some quite lengthy races due to the speed or lack of from the cars they use there, and obviously the safety cars as well. But you don't expect to see that from a 50% race as Romsey comes into the pits. So
okay.
Romsey, I think, is about to go on to the intermediates. We're just going to stay on board. We've got X-Gamer. Oh, so Red Bull have really double stacked this, and that's not going to work. Topics goes past. A very unsafe release from Red Bull there as Mad G comes in. However, the big loser here is X-Gamer.
I think so, yeah.
So Luke has stayed out on the wets. We've got Shadow on the wets. They're possibly going to be the ones that now struggle. Interesting strategy from Romsey.
Yeah, now the good question is, who has the net lead? Who is...
Well, DCG is on 4-lap old intermediates, and he's in P2. He's sandwiched in by a couple of wet runners of Luke and Shadow. In fourth, you've got Xander. So you could be looking at your top three if them wet tyres have to get out of the way, being DCG, Xander, and Broomy, with Sonic like in fourth as well.
Every race, I think I commented.
Oh, James Hook picks up a 5-second penalty for a severe collision, and that's going to be damage as well. It is, again, the concentration behind safety cars.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's a big hit as well. He's lost a lot of front wing there.
I think
Senna, who is now up into P7, and he's on 3-lap old intermediates as well, so he'll be someone to watch out for. But just behind James Hook is Topics, and he clearly had the pace over Senna at the start of the race, so it could be a case of watching them two come back through the field. Still a lot of racing to go.
Then we have Roms and X-Gamer as well. Mad G behind there. This could be good. But I think the thing that happens every race we two comment on is that the race goes on, everyone is doing their thing, and then we have Broomy he's there in the top all of a sudden from nowhere.
Yeah, and as I say, if the wet runners get out of the way, he's got a net P3.
Yeah, he's always like having a mistake, having a crash or something, getting back in the field, and then he's just up there for some reason. Really good at keeping his cool, I think.
So as the guys follow the safety car around for another lap, Broomy, 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits.
That would probably get removed.
As James Hook goes into the pits, so that releases Topics behind Senna, and Tommy picks up a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Mad G. So that's... Oh, and that's knocked Mad G off the track. What on earth has happened there?
I have no idea. He has to pit again. He lost an end plate.
And Tommy retires in the pits.
I think Tommy had a little bit of sloppy race here.
Yeah, from that pit entry that he did. I mean, he'd gone past the pits. He then cut straight across the green painted part that separates the pit lane from the racetrack, and caused Psychomich to crash into him. So, not the best of races, but I'm sure that'll be something that the stewards will be requesting footage of after the race.
Yeah, I think we are commentators. We see things quite quickly and have no replay function, so it's quite good not to take a statement too early, I think.
No, Maggi hasn't retired. Fortunately, he carries on, and rightly so. You know, there's only 14 runners left in the race. We've still got 8 laps to go. Anything could happen.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully we have 8 laps of pure racing right now, because I want to see them go.
Yeah, the safety car is kind of sort of dumbing down what could be a great battle, but as you say, hopefully we get 8 good laps of racing after this.
This safety car is probably driving in the same speed as I'm doing, but around the wet Silverstone, I think. Maybe the wet Belgium as well. I haven't tried it yet.
Safety car is in this lap, but we get the notification nice and early. So just while Luke backs up the field, obviously for those watching, the F1 2020 game has been announced. What are your thoughts? Have you had a look at any of the features that are coming through?
I think it's a dream coming true with my team. I've dreamt of doing an own team since I was a kid, I think. Since I was playing Formula 1 2004 on PS2. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, so Luke
and I also hope they've done some helmet designs.
Full-on editing would be brilliant. As Luke gets us back underway, and he's got a great jump on DCG there.
Yeah. 2 seconds already.
And it's quite gapped out going into turn 1, so should be no issues there. Oh, Topics tries to make a move on Senna and outbrakes himself, but slots in just behind him. We jump on board with Topics. And we watch the guys come through.
No crash here.
Senna clipping the grass and the curb. Somehow manages to keep the car in line, and he'll now be looking to get the run on Sonic. Looks like he's going to get that move done easily, and Topics is going to follow him through. Be nice if they went one each side, a bit like Michael Schumacher and Häkkinen all them years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, Sonic and Senna come together, and Sonic ends up off the track, and that allows Topics to get the move done as well, and Romsey up on the inside as well. So
Sonic's
Romsey will be
back.
Yeah, he's not going to make that work around the outside there. Horrible corner. That one, it just seems to go on forever at absolutely no speed. Out at the front, Luke 1 second ahead, and it looks like he's struggling on them wet tyres, and it looks like Shadow is as well, as Zander closes up on the back. So the guys on the wet tyres looking like they're going to be pitting and dropping to the back of the grid. Shadow very slow through the chicane there, as we have a yellow in sector 2, and that's Need for Speed out.
Yeah. And James Hook as well.
And James Hook. Oh, they've not come together. As James Hook
still moving though.
The car around.
Now he's spinning.
He's got no front rings, so we'll jump back to the front.
That's probably 120 degrees in the rears. Like
Luke loses it big time on the wets. Just as he comes down to the chicane. Them wets really not playing ball anymore. But he continues out. And Shadow picks up a 10-second penalty. And he's sideways out of the final corner. We've lost Psychomich as well. He's had a coming together. Is that with Mad G?
Sounds quite harsh though.
Has Psychomich had a coming together with Mad G? See if Mad G's got any damage. No, car is intact. All of this going on.
Going wild right
now. Yeah, we've lost Sander. He's gone backwards as well. So maybe he's had a coming together.
Roms is on the grass.
Topics gets an absolute launch, and we're now about to see it. No, Shadow goes defensive.
Yeah. Lost
Senna up to P3. We could still get Senna winning this race.
Yeah, we have a new leader as well. Shadow
back on the track safely, but then wet tyres.
Yeah,
screaming enough is enough.
Well in DCG right now.
Yeah, DCG away at the front. Topics and Senna continue their race-long battle. Senna 1.6 off of Luke, but that gap is just going to disappear. DCG in a good position here. Has he got the pace?
Hopefully, I want to see him win.
Luke, yeah, it'd be nice to see a different winner, and it would be 2 wins in a row for Alfa Romeo, but 1 from each side of the team.
Yeah, and they're already up to Luke now. Luke has no speed at all. 3 seconds in 1 lap from DCG. Because
Yeah,
remember, he
Luke's
was probably
Senna
half a
looks to
second
get
up
the move
in the
done.
beginning of the lap.
Topics as well. Topics is doing a great job of following Senna through, but the cars really bunched together. Topics, looks on the inside of Senna there. Not a place to make a move in the wet.
This is making me
In the
sweaty.
dry. Oh, Luke out way wide. He's now going to have to come into the pits as Topics looks to make the move very late. Oh, gets that horribly wrong, but he's going to get the better run out of the final corner.
Yeah, these two guys are driving superb
Are these
right
two
now.
battling? Going to allow DCG to maintain the lead. The lead is now 3.8 as Topic goes for a move on the inside of Senna. And he's out wide. Senna's still there, but I think he's going to give that up. Yeah, you're not going to want to be making
too wide
that
in
move.
the wet here.
Topics really looks to have some speed.
Yeah, it's something else with this guy lately.
Oh, Senna's going for the move again though. Senna now pulls out and takes P2.
Picking a break later.
Back from Topics. Topics appears on the inside again. Wow. Side by side, and Senna is going to have it into here. And that should be the move done as he's got the line into this corner as well. Holds a very tight line. They come together. And all the time, DCG is going to be pulling that lead out.
Yeah,
5 laps to go. 5.5 laps to go.
Got probably
4.8 seconds. Yeah, 5 seconds almost. Great driving from Senna and Topics there, though. Always good to see the battling on track.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. We heard last week in the interviews that Topics wanted a battle with Senna. Now we see it. It's really good.
Yes, and it looks like Senna's got someone who could match him for the battle. And all the time, Broomy still in 4th, but he's got a very quick Romsey coming up behind him. So the gap to DCG, 4.9 seconds. That looks to be maintaining the same. Current title holder for GP4. He went to GP3. It wasn't really working out for him. He's come back to GP4 and he's had some fantastic races. Very unfortunate last week in Hungary, but making amends here, it seems, as he sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah.
So DCG looking really good. However, with the guys behind stopping battling, they've taken 3 tenths out of him already. So we watch Senna and Topics come through. They touch that curb on the inside there. Don't know if that's something I'd want to be doing in the wet, but they keep it together. So we've got Romsey now making the move around the outside of Broomy. He's got that done way before the corner. So can he now pull himself up to the back of Topics and Senna and start battling with them? Still 4.5 laps to go. The gap though coming down all the time. Senna seems to have found some pace in the second half of the race in the wet. He's pulled 0.9 over Topics. Now a second down to 4.2 to DCG. James Hook sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:59.7. So he's going to be absolutely gutted to have had that coming together, it looks like, with Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Further down the field, we've got X-Gamer.
We have a train behind Sander right now.
Yeah, he's coming up. We've got the Toro Rossos with the Red Bull in a sandwich at the moment, or just 3 Red Bulls, pretty much. Mad G is P9 and he's on the back of this as well. So he'll be looking possibly to make another few positions here. And if he can jump from 9th to 6th after starting 20th around here, I'd say that's a fair race. The gap at the front down to 3.7. So Senna is reeling DCG in. And he's got enough time before the end of the race to do so as well. I'm surprised that Topics seems to have lost that pace he had early on in the race.
Yeah, maybe he's saving some ERS.
Senna goes fastest. Romsey goes even faster.
Maybe
Senna goes out way wide. Out of turn 1. And the gap back up to 4.5 to DCG. Great shot there as they come over the top of Rodillion onto the Kennel straight. And Romsey 2.1 seconds behind. Has he got enough time to pull them in? Oh, we've lost X-Gamer. X-Gamer's gone around.
Yeah.
Does he have damage?
No.
Mad G has pinched the position.
He has no damage.
Okay, I'm not sure how he's managed that. Answers on a postcard. DCG looking very comfortable at the front. 4 seconds the gap. Topic's now back in with half a second. And Romsey still closing that gap. It's just not enough. I think he could have done with Senna and Topic's battling a little bit more. Wow, Romsey looking really good round there. And the gap back down to 3.8. Is this DCG just taking it steady? At the moment, Senna's going to have to pull in just over a second a lap.
Yeah, I think DCG is just trying to bring it home right now.
He's been in this position before. He obviously will have won plenty of races last season when he took the GP4 title. This Topics really closes in on the brakes to Senna. And Romsey, the whole time, that gap just still at 1.9 at the moment. X-Gamer on the back of Mad G, with Mad G on the back of the two Toro Rossos, although Zander looks like he's made a little bit of a breakaway from his teammate. Can X-Gamer get that position back?
Starting to split up a little bit. X-Gamer's catching Mad G again.
Oh, we've got a yellow in sector 3.
It's Shadow.
And that is Shadow. And he's not out of the race. But that's after a great race last week for the Williams team. They now find themselves in P12 and P13. And that gap, 3.4 seconds, and it looks like DCG's got this one covered off. And at the moment, it looks like Senna's got Topics covered off as well.
I think so. Topics is losing in speed right now, or Senna is
It's interesting.
doing
Topics,
everything he can.
Topics on the fresher tyre, albeit only 2 laps, but I think there's going to be quite a lot of people happy to see DCG take a win here.
Yeah, Sander gets a 3-second time penalty. Then he will lose a point to Sonneborg. The gap down to 2.9, but as I say, is 2.8 is DCG just rolling it off around them corners that can end your race. Senna the whole time is going to have to be pushing. Oh, gets it sideways out of the last corner, so that's going to cost him 2 or 3 tenths just alone there. Yep, from 2.7 up to 3 seconds. Yeah, it's easy to do that mistake right there.
Yeah, so Romsey, who has shown great pace all race, starting to close the gap down on Topics. Again, a little too late. It's Mad G and X-Gamer go at it. And Mad G gives him a little squeeze as they come down here, and this is going to be interesting coming through here. Are they going to go side by side? No. X-Gamer backs out of it, and the better move as Mad G goes way off. I don't know how he has not hit the wall there.
It was a good save, in my opinion.
Yeah, wow. That's incredible. Has it stopped raining? No, it's still raining.
Yeah, it's still
Looked
raining
like
a
it
little
had got
bit.
a lot brighter there. We have a yellow in sector 3, and that is James Hook. So the Williams in sector 3. I'm not totally sure what's going on there as he takes out the Rolex braking marker, and his teammate comes past him. Back at the front, we have Romsey just 1 second off of Topics. Topics though, 1.4. Fortunately, we will not see any more safety cars or VS. Hopefully, no more VSCs. So the gap, 2.2 seconds. Senna not giving this up. It's only going to take a silly little mistake, a slide, or a wrong entry into a corner for DCG, and Senna is going to be all over the back of him.
Yeah, anything can happen right now.
The gap 1.8 now, 4/10 in that last sector. It's back up to 2.1. So I think Senna's struggling on the exit of the final corner.
Yeah, I think so. It doesn't look like he has to grip down right here.
No, the track looking a lot drier though now. This could cause some overheating on the tyres, which will not be fun as the guys go through. As DRS is enabled.
Okay.
And Romsey has DRS. Can he use it to pull up to the back of Topics and make a move before this final lap is over? Mad G picks up a 3-second penalty, and that keeps him safe. He's still okay at the moment with Luke 6.9 seconds behind him. DCG taking it very easy as we've lost Luke.
Radillion takes another
on the final lap as well. And is that the tyres overheating with the track drying up?
Might be.
DCG looking like he's really struggling. The gap 1.1 seconds. Senna is not giving this up. Can he get close enough to try and outbrake him into the chicane at the end of the lap?
I don't think so. I think it's maybe 1 or 2 laps more and he could have got it.
Yeah, looks like we may have the positions done here. Oh, DCG so close to the wall out of there. Wow. His heart rate will be considerably up at the moment. Senna now 1 second behind, but DCG has this covered off. All he's got to do as we watch him come into the final chicane is hit the apex on both corners and gently put the power down out of the final corner. So DCG, our current GP4 champion, back into GP4, gives us a little tail wag as he comes out of the final corner and takes the win from Senna Martins, who has a 10-second penalty and drops right back to P4.
Yeah, that happened.
Zander with a 5-second penalty that was unserved. Mad G comes home in 8th after starting 20th, a solid result for him. And Sajkomic takes the final point as he comes into the chicane at the end. And the track looks completely dry now, so them intermediate tyres would have been horrible on that last lap.
Yeah.
We just wait for the
if
Williams.
The penalties stays as they are. We have a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo.
We do, yeah. However, in the chat, it looks like Senna's saying that it's one of the ones that should be removed for exceeding track limits. So I'm sure that will be sent to the stewards. But at the moment, as it stands, we have a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo, and Romsey comes home with another podium. Okay, if you want to get inviting our top 3, hopefully we can get all of them in. I'll run through the finishing positions for everyone watching. So as we see DCG take the first place, that is a result that won't be questionable. A great drive back into GP4 and finally picks up the win. And back-to-back wins for Alfa Romeo with his teammate up on the podium with him and Romsey taking P3. Great result from the guys there. A really difficult race with the conditions as they were. Hopefully we're going to get to speak to them all in a moment. Just while we wait for that, I will run through the finishing order for you. As it comes, here we go. So DCG, as we said, takes the win. Topics comes home in P2, and at the moment we have a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo with Romsey in P3. Senna in 4th with a questionable 10-second penalty. That will be something for the stewards and admins to look at after the race. Sonic Hawk comes home with a solid P5, though a great drive from Sonic, who was at the back of the grid at the start of the race. X Gamer takes P6 after taking pole position for the race. Broomy in 7th, Magi 8th, Zander 9th, and Psychomich takes the final points position in 10th. We then have James Hook, who comes home in P11 with Shadow, his teammate, in P12. And the non-finishers are Luke from 13th, Need for Speed, ISRL Tommy, Energy Dan, Pro Oliver, Podge, Pelderagus and Gisolodian. And it looks like we have got all 3 into the chat.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we'll start with our winner, DCG. Finally back on the top step of the podium. How long has it been since the last win? Wow, okay, so nearly a season. Yeah, we were watching
first, so you're fast. I'm gonna invite Romsey again here.
Yeah, we were. DCG, can you quickly pop your audio settings onto share in the party? It's been that long since a podium chat.
Is that any better?
We'll just wait.
Is that better? I think it's fine.
Well, I can hear you fine. It's the guys watching the stream who can't hear you. Hopefully someone will comment and say if they can hear you or not. But yeah, okay. So hopefully the guys can hear. Yep, we can hear you now. So just quickly, one more time, a great race, a bit squeaky bum time at the end there with Senna hunting you down. The track looked like it dried up at the end as well. So that final lap, were the intermediates sort of overheating as well?
They were gone. I saw him closing in. I think he got the better of me because I saw him up. Oh god! And I started making a couple of little mistakes. The rear was going out, but got him. I knew he had a penalty though, but so I just wanted to get it done on the track though. Yeah, no, a great result, a great drive, and great to have you back on the top step. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, really good.
Thank you.
Great race. Honestly, it's such a hard race. Where was it you qualified again?
14th or 15th.
Wow, so what a drive to come through from that far.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Grid. How was it with all of the VSCs and safety cars?
The VSCs in the middle were helpful because I was just hoping it would prolong and make it just so it would drive and get back to light rain so my tyres would be okay.
Yeah.
So I knew everyone ahead was on full wets. So, no, it worked to my advantage.
Yeah, it looked like easy pickings after the final safety car with Luke
Definitely
still on the wets. No. The wets really went off quickly though for the guys behind. I know Luke and Shadow were the only two that were running them at that point. But no, great result, well done. And yeah, hopefully you can continue this sort of momentum into the next race at Monza. We'll discuss that in a moment. But we'll move on to your teammate. 2 races, 2 podiums, a win and a second. A 1-2 for Alfa Romeo as it stands at the moment. How are you feeling after that one, Topics?
Oh mate, 2 weeks in a row to be up on a podium, especially this week as well. For an Alpha 1-2 potentially. Yeah, good stuff. It's great. I mean, to be up there as well with DCG 1-2, yeah, it's top of the world, mate. Absolutely top of the world.
Good. I just want to ask, because at the start of the race, you looked incredibly quick. You had the gap over Senna up to 1.5 seconds. You looked really comfortable in the light rain conditions at the start. What was different at the end? Because it seemed at the end you got the move done, and then Senna came back at you down the straight, and it seemed then you couldn't hold the kind of pace you had at the start of the race. What was going on there?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a weird one, really. Obviously, with the safety car coming out and the conditions changing to full wets, I saw quite a few people moving on to the wet tyres, but I thought I'll stay out on inters, not having made a pit stop. And then as the safety car came in, I did one lap and then came in for a set of inters, and then luckily enough, second safety car came out, and as that had gone back in, I had plenty of pace to keep up with Senna. Obviously, I got past him on the start-finish straight, but I overshot and nearly hit the back of Sonic going into turn 1, so I had to take avoiding action, and he just got back in front of me from there, and I don't know what was wrong. I don't know if the rear tyres were overheating or what the problem was, but I just couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah, it was interesting because you looked incredibly quick at the start, and we were saying, had it have been a clear race in them conditions with no VSCs or safety cars, you would have romped away with a win again.
Potentially, yeah.
But yeah, look, at the end of the day, you kept it out of the walls at a track that even in the dry is renowned for taking many people's race away from them. So a great result. Well done again for a second podium in the row. Obviously, pending on Senna's penalty, but worst case P3, so you're still on the podium. And
Still
you
not
said,
bad,
yeah, Sven was saying on the comms, you wanted to have that battle with Senna. You got it this week. How was it?
I did, mate. Yeah, you know what? I've been doing a couple of practice races with Senna, and obviously we've been having quite a good little battle between ourselves. And I thought, you know what? If we can take it to a race on Sunday, on Monday, I'll be more than happy. And that's exactly what we did today. And he did beat me on track, yeah, but yeah, you know what? I'm happy because the pace between us is just incredible. To be fair,
I think since Senna's sort of resurgence in the league at the start of the season, other than his teammate in Austria, there hasn't really been anyone who's taken a battle to him quite like that. So fingers crossed, you can race every week, and this can continue. But well done. We'll move on to Valtteri Romsey. How are you, mate?
Hey, I'm fine.
Congratulations on a potential podium. I hate using that word, but obviously we don't know. At the moment, you're up here, you're in the chat. A great race. You looked really, really solid out there. You always seem to be sort of maybe just one or 2 seconds off where you needed to be at a certain time. I think just at the start, maybe you got held up a little bit too much behind your teammate. Had you have got the better of him sooner, do you think you could have battled for the win?
Yeah, I think I had the pace because I was gaining these guys at the end, and at the start when I got past X Gamer, I was gaining on 10-2. So I think I had the pace. I was being maybe a little bit too careful along the race, but I was just trying to finish without any accidents, so it worked out well.
Yeah, you took the fastest lap, did you?
I think so.
I think you had I can't remember the time for the life of me, but I did see it flash up, and then where the track dried up and the tyres started to overheat, the times dropped off again. Fastest lap, an extra point for that. But yeah, solidifying your look of being fast, and obviously your finishing position with the fastest lap as well. So yeah, an extra point there. Well done. Okay, Sven,
luckily
anything? Go on. Sorry.
My PS4 crashed just when the race ended, so luckily it was.
Oh wow! Okay, so
there.
if it was ever going to happen, perfect timing. Okay, great. Well done on a solid result, and obviously pending stewards and the penalty, we'll see what happens. But either way, a great result. Sven, anything you want to ask the guys?
Yeah, sure. We can start with the winner, DCG. What do you think about next week then? Italy, Monza.
Hard to tell. I was nowhere in dry when I was practicing in the dry for this one, so I think I just need to get back practicing, to be honest, and see what happens. I think Senna and Topic's going to be a bit of a stretch to get to, but if I can get top 5 again, that'll be good.
Yeah, it sounds good. Solid goal. I think you did really good today, so maybe you can show up next week too. Who knows?
Wow, that'd be nice.
Yeah, and Topics, how are you feeling about Monza?
To be fair, mate, I need to do some runs around it because I have no idea what my pace is going to be like, to be honest with you. Obviously looking forward to it. Being in the Ferrari Junior team, I mean, if me and DCG can get up there and get on the podium again, another 1-2 for Alpha, yeah, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I can reckon that. Who wouldn't be happy with a 1-2, I mean? And last but not least, I think Romsey. What are you thinking about Monza?
I love the track. I started my gaming career playing GP2 in Monza a lot. No idea where my pace is, but really like to drive there, so I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, I think it would be a good race. It's a lot of overtaking opportunities, quite rough corners, early brakings, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Yeah, turn one's going to be very interesting, but I will say, you guys in GP4, all of the drivers, turns 1 right through to the end of the Kemmel Straight today were phenomenal. And if there was ever an example of how a race should start, that was it. Because you guys all did fantastic going through there, and that's you three and everybody else that was in the race as well. So great effort from everyone there to keep it clean, to allow everyone to continue after the first 3 corners of the race as well. So that is it. Obviously the guys have given their thoughts on next week. A great race, I think you'll all agree. Fingers crossed you get to watch a dry race through one of the rest of the tiers this week. Obviously tomorrow night you've got the GP3 guys who will be going out, and I'm sure they'll all be hoping for a dry race as well. If you haven't already and you're new to watching the stream, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up so that we can get the videos out, because what they put together here at SFR is fantastic. 4 tiers of racing on a Monday to Thursday, and then on Fridays you have the classic cars, and you have now on Sundays the all new reserve league. So obviously we have reserve drivers here at SFR who like to take the empty seats when they're available for any reasons that people can't make the race. They now have a little league going on a Sunday evening, which is streamed and commentated on as well. So pretty much action every night of the week with SFR, so should never be bored during the lockdown for things to watch. Guys, thanks for joining us on the podium chat. As ever, Sven, thanks for joining me on comms. A pleasure as always. Thank you to everyone else. Cheers, mate. Thank you to everyone else who watched, commented, and the guys who turned up to race as well. That is it from us. We're back again, as I say, tomorrow night, but we'll see you next week in Monza, where hopefully we can get a dry race for the GP4 guys. Take care, guys. See you soon.
Take care.